Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tunde Victor, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys the step-by-step process on how I retouch this image right here. I've already uploaded this image on Facebook, and I wanted to do a video on how I retouch this image. So I actually retouched this image with the Capture One and Photoshop. So I'm just going to do my basic adjustment with Capture One, and I'm also going to show you how to do your basic adjustment with Camera Raw if you don't have this Capture One software. So basically what I'm going to be doing right now, once I import my raw file to Capture One, I'm just going to be doing my basic adjustments, bringing down my highlights, bringing down my shadows, and you can use Lightroom to do this, and you can use your Camera Raw filter in Photoshop to do this as well. I'm just going to show you how to do it with Capture One and in Camera Raw in case you don't have the Capture One software. So if you have this Capture One, just come to your exposure tab right here, and just if you feel the highlights of your image is too much, you can just bring your highlights all the way down. But I feel this exposure of this image is looking okay. And also, if you want to check if the highlight is too much, you can just click on this your exposure one right here. So once you click on this your exposure one up here, it's going to show you if your highlight is too much or if your image is overexposed. Right now I think this image is properly exposed, so I'm not seeing any warning right here. If this image was overexposed, like let me just say I just bring the highlight all the way up, you can see those red showing on this image right here. It means those parts of the image showing red are overexposed. So you can turn on your exposure warning or turn it off if you want to know where it's exposed or where it's overexposed on your image. So I'm just going to turn it on, and just bring my highlights all the way down a little bit like this. And also I'm going to open up my shadows a little bit for like this. I feel it's too much like this, so because of that I'm just going to bring down my blacks like this to compensate from these shadows which I open. But I feel the shadow is too much, so I'm just going to take it all the way down like this. Okay, I feel it's okay like this, and I'm just going to bring my white up because I bring my highlights down a little bit. So next thing I'm going to do, I'll come to my levels right here. I'll just bring my shadows inside my levels like this, and you can see what's happening to the hair. If I take it all the way back, you can see the hair, the shadow side are a bit fade. So if I just bring it in, you can see I've added contrast to that place and they're a bit sharper. And I'll just bring my highlights inside to a bit like this. Okay, I think that's all I'll be doing for Capture One for this image. And like I said, you can do the same thing in Camera Raw. I'm still going to show you that. So you can see I just brought down my highlights, brought down my shadows, and bring down my blacks. And I feel the skin tone are looking okay. I didn't touch the skin tone, they're okay. So I'm just going to come to right click right here. So once I right click on this image right here, I'm going to see edit with Adobe Photoshop. So I'm just going to click on edit with Adobe Photoshop 2021. As you can see right here, I'm using 8 bits, but if you have a faster laptop you can use 16 bits. And since my system is not so fast, I'm going to be using 8 bits, but 8 bits works better as well. But you can use 16 bits. I prefer you use 16 bits if your system is okay, but I use 8 bits to edit all my images because my system is not that fast. So I'm just going to click on edit variant right now, and it's going to export this image to Photoshop for me. So right now I'm in Photoshop. I'm just going to show you how to use Camera Raw to do those basic adjustments we just did in Capture One. So to do that, just come to your filter and come to your Camera Raw filter right here. So click on it, and once you're your Camera Raw, just come to your basic right here. So once you come to your basic, you can see your exposure right here. You can see your highlights, you can see your shadows, and you can see your white, you can see your blacks. So just take your highlights down, take your shadows up, take your whites up, take your blacks down to add contrast to the image like this. So the same thing I did in Capture One, you can do it right here in Camera Raw. So I've already done it in Capture One, so I'm not going to be doing it here again. So if you don't have the Capture One, you can use Camera Raw to do it as well. So I'm just going to click on OK right now, or cancel instead, because I did not do anything. So once I'm Photoshop, the first thing I'm going to do, I'll first of all duplicate my layer by clicking on Ctrl J, and after that I'm just going to run my first focus separation, because I prefer using my high texture layer to remove the blemishes on the skin. I feel it gives me more flexibility, or it makes the image looks better for me. But you can decide to remove your blemishes first, but I prefer to run my first focus separation action to remove the blemishes. And before you run your focus separation action, make sure you zoom in your image to see how sharp the image is, so you have an idea of the kind of focus separation blur radius to use. Because like I said, if you want to get the right focus separation blur radius, you have to know the kind of image you're editing, how sharp the image is, and also you have to consider if it's a headshot or a full body shot to get the kind of focus separation blur radius you need. And if you want to know more about how to get focus separation blur radius, just click on the link showing up here right now to go and watch that video and come back and watch this one. And also I'll be leaving the link to the video in the description below as well. So right now I just zoom in my image, and this image is sharp and it's a headshot, so I'll be using a blur radius of 12. So if you have a headshot with a sharp image like this, make sure to use a higher blur radius so that you can retain more texture on the image. But if you want your image to be smooth and look like cartoon, you can decide to use a lesser blur radius. But if you want to get texture on your image, use a higher blur radius for headshots like this. So I'm going to come to Retouching Academy. And also, if you want this Retouching Academy software, make sure to send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram name is Tunde Victor 7, and I'll send this Retouching Academy plugin to you. So I'm just going to come to my focus separation via Gaussian blur, because I use the focus separation via Gaussian blur to retouch my image. So I just click on it like this, and I'm going to be using a radius of 12 for this image because I want to retain more texture for the image. So I'm going to click on OK right now. So once my actions open right here, I'll just come to this my first layer right here, which is the high frequency texture copy. I'll click on it. So once I click on it, I'll come to my toolbar right here. I'll pick on my close stamp tool. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be removing the blemishes from this image. So I'm using my close stamp tool to do that. So first of all, come to your high frequency texture, then come to your toolbar, pick your close stamp tool, and make sure your mood is on normal, your opacity is on 100, your flow is on 100, and your sample is on current layer. That is if you are using this Retouching Academy focus separation method to remove your blemishes. But if you are not using it, all you have to do is just create a new layer, pick your close stamp tool, make sure your sample is set to current and below. Because if your sample is set to current layer and you just brush on a new empty layer, it's not going to work. So make sure it sets to current and below to remove the blemishes. You can see it's working right now, but I really don't use this method. But I won't say I don't recommend it because it's working. It's what I've been using, so you can use it if that's what you know how to use. But right now I'm using this focus separation method to remove my blemishes. So back to our close stamp tool. So once I pick my close stamp tool, make sure my sample is set to current layer right now, because right now if you set to current and below and I sample and brush, you can see it's not making the image look good. So make sure it sets to current layer. So I'm just going to undo that by clicking on Ctrl Z to undo, or you come to your history and click on the last history which you did to undo. So moving on, I'll just hold alternate to sample from a close by area and just paint on the blemishes. Hold alternate to sample from a close by area and just paint on the blemishes. Hold alternate to sample and paint, and make sure you are taking your time when removing blemishes, because I think this is the main thing in retouching, removing of blemishes. So don't rush this step, just take your time to remove your blemishes. So I'm just going to be doing this for the whole of this image. I'm going to click in on my alternate to sample and click to remove. Press alternate on your keyboard to sample and paint on the blemishes, just like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing for all the blemishes on this image right now. Alright guys, we're back. So I've successfully removed the blemishes. So you can see this is the before and this is the after. Let me just zoom so you can see. This is the before and this is the after. So just take your time to remove the blemishes, and don't forget to use your square bracket key to increase and decrease your brush size according to the blemishes which you want to remove, like that. So if you click on the square bracket key, you can increase your brush size and decrease it, just like that. So after removing the blemishes, the second step I'm going to do, I'm just going to be doing my micro dodge and burn. So this micro dodge and burn is very essential when you're touching a beauty headshot like this, because then you have the opportunity to shape the light that falls on the model's face. So I'm just going to show you how that is done. A different way to do this micro dodge and burn but I'm just going to show you the method which I'm using. I'm trying to learn new method as well, and once I finish learning the new method, I'm also going to share it with you guys over here. So this is how I do my micro dodge and burn, and it has been working for me. So just come to your Retouching Academy again, but before that I'm just going to remove this strands of hair which I'm seeing right here. So I'll come back to my focus separation and just pick my close stamp tool, sample and brush. I want to take this hair out. I don't want it to be there. Okay, so I just come to my Retouching Academy again, click on my dodge and burn curves right here. So once I click on my dodge and burn curves, I'm going to open this visual aid folder for me. So I'm just going to come to my adjustment again and add a levels adjustment layer so I can be able to see where to dodge and where to burn even more. So I'm just going to push my shadows inside like this. So I'm just trying to explain this tutorial as simple as possible so you can understand me better. And also, if you want the raw file for this particular image, I'm going to be leaving a link where you can download the raw file, so you can get it from Dirty Studios, and I'm going to leave you a link where you can download this raw file from their website. So after you added your levels adjustment layer, just close your visual aid like this, then come to your dodge and burn right here, which is the second one right here, and open it and come to your dodge. And after that, just come to your toolbar right here, pick on your normal brush, make sure your brush is on soft round brush, and also make sure your opacity is on 100, and make sure your flow is set to 2 or 3, but I prefer using 2, and make sure your smoothing is set to 10. So after that, just make sure your foreground color is set to white. If it's set to black like this, just click on this icon right here to switch it to white, or if you have other color right here, just click on this default black and white right here to change it to the default black and white. So just toggle between white and black, so make sure your foreground color is on white. So once it's on white, just you can decide to zoom in. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to be making those dark parts of the image a little bit brighter, and those bright parts of the image a little bit darker. So those parts that are too bright, I'm just going to make it dark so that the image is going to be smooth. So I'm simply going to be brightening up the dark parts. So let me just increase my opacity to 100 so I can show you. So if I just brush on this dark part right here, you can see that place is becoming bright. So if I just turn off my visual aid, you can see the before and the after. You can see this dark parts right here are becoming brighter like that, but it's too much. That's why I reduce the opacity to 2 so that I will not overdo it. So I'm just going to delete that because that's not what I want to do. So I hope you get the point. So I'm just going to be trying to even out the skin with dodge and burn. So I'll pick my normal brush tool again and just paint on this dark place right here to make it brighter like that. So I'm just going to be doing this for the whole of the image. This method right here takes a lot of time, but it actually makes the image look more better. So I'm just going to be doing a little bit and show you guys the effect so you can see the before and after. So I'm just going to be showing you guys effect. So if I just turn my visual aid back on, so just focus on this place which I just did just now. So you can see this is the before and this is the after. You can see this place are looking even right now. This is the before and this is the after. So just make sure you take your time to look at the image very well and know where to dodge and know where to burn. So dodge simply means brightening up the image, and burn simply means to darken the image. So I'm just going to brighten this part a little bit because I feel it's kind of dark, and also I feel this forehead right here is kind of dark, so I'm just going to brighten it up a bit. I feel this place right here is dark, so I'm just going to brighten up a little bit. Remember, this is not contour dodge and burn, this is micro dodge and burn. I'm just trying to shape how the light falls on the subject face so that it will make the image look smoother. So that's what I'm doing right now. So any part of the image you feel is too dark, that's not looking good, just brighten it up or darken it to make it fit with the existing colors right there. Okay guys, let me quickly show you the before and after. So this is before our dodge and burn. Let me zoom in, and this is after our micro dodge and burn. So this is the before and this is the after. You can see the difference before and after. You can see the shadows are and the highlights are all falling in place right now. So the before and the after. So just take your time to do it. Before I used to skip this step, so I'm just going to delete this visual aid right now. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to do my focus separation. So remember the first time we used a radius of about 12, so we are going to be using the same radius we used the first time. So I'm going to click 12 as well, click on OK. So once I click on OK, the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be using my mixer brush tool to paint, and also I have the ability to remove blemishes if I see any blemishes I don't want on the image. So like here I'm seeing some blemishes right here on those. I'm going to remove that. So I'll come back to my high texture copy, pick my close stamp tool, and just remove those blemishes as well. So I have the freedom to remove blemishes 2 times. So that's why I like this method. In case I miss some blemishes the first time, I can also remove them right now. So I feel that's all I'm going to be removing. So if you are retouching your image, so make sure you just take your time to retouch this image. So with that being said, I want to use my mixer brush tool to smoothen out the skin. So I'll just come to my toolbar, my brush tool, and right click and select my mixer brush tool right here. So this is my mixer brush tool, and I'm using a soft hand brush as well, and I'm using a clean brush. My mode is on custom, and my load is on 30, my mix is on 20, my flow is on 30, and sample or layer is checked. So that's my mixer brush settings. You can pause it and see my mixer brush settings if you want to use it. That's what I'll be using, and it has been working for me. So after picking my mixer brush tool, I'll come to this my corrective tool right here. So this empty layer right here is where I'm going to be brushing on. So once I click on it, I'll just turn off my high texture copy by clicking on this eye icon right here. So once I click on this eye icon, this image is going to be blurry, and I'm just going to brush on the image. So if you want to brush your image, make sure you observe your image and see how the textures are moving on your image. And for this image right here, let me just create a new empty layer so I can display something. And for this image right here, the textures are moving in this direction like this. So if I want to brush, I'm just going to be brushing to this direction like this. So that's how I'm going to be brushing if I want to brush. And also if I want to brush side, I'm going to brush into this direction like this as well. I'm just going to be brushing like this, and I'll bring this part down like this. And if I want to brush here, I'll just take it up like this. And if I want to brush here, I'll bring it all the way down like this. So just brush according to the shape of the textures on your model skin. So I'm just going to delete that right now. Okay, now I'll pick my mixer brush tool again and turn off my high texture. Once the image is blurry like this, I'll just brush like this, like I told you before. So I'm brushing to this direction like this, and I'll brush this side like this, and I'll brush here like this. Don't know if you can see the way I'm stroking it like that, and I'll take this part all the way down like this. So I'm just going to be using my mixer brush to even out the colors on the skin, and I'll be really fast about this because I've already done most of the work. So this part shouldn't take a lot of time because I've done my contour, dodge and burn. So this part right here is just to make the skin look smoother, so it's not really going to affect the image that much because I think I've already gotten a good image and I already know how this image is going to look like. So once you get those steps I did before correctly, once you remove your blemishes, you don't have any issues when using your mixer brush. So just make sure you get your focus separation blur radius right, and you will not have any issues. But you can also check your before and after. So just turn on this high texture layer on to see what you are doing in case you make any mistake, so you can see your before and after. So I think I like this one like this. The image is looking good because I've done most of the work. So just take your time to remove the blemishes. That's the most important part of retouching. Remove your blemishes. Take your time to remove your blemishes and just get your focus separation blur radius right. That's all you need. And there is no accurate focus separation blur radius. Just get close to what you want and your image is going to look good. And also you don't have to overdo it, because I've seen a lot of image online that the image is going to look so smooth and it's not looking good. So just make sure you when you are snapping your image, make sure you have a sharp image. And once your image is sharp and your image is good, once your image is good in camera, all you have to do is just a little bit of editing and the image is going to come out great. As you can see, this image was shot by Wale Visuals and the image looked good already. Even without doing any retouching, the image looks good, and that's why the image looks better after retouching. So I'm just going to do the same thing for here. So you can see the before and after, and I think I'm going to remove few blemishes. I'm seeing some blemishes, so I'm just going to remove the blemishes I'm seeing right here because I really don't want it. I feel it's distracting to the image. Okay. Alright, so let's see. These are before and these are after focus separation. Before and after. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to run my portraiture plugin to make this image look a little bit smoother. But if you don't have this portraiture plugin, it doesn't matter because this image is looking good on its own like this already. It doesn't really add any effects to the image. So I'm just going to show you how to do that just in case you have this portraiture plugin. So just come to your corrective tone and merge it with your low frequency and color tone. So to merge, once your corrective tone, hold Control and click on your low frequency and click on Control E on your keyboard or Command E on your keyboards to merge. So once you merge the layer, you come to your filter, you come to your Imagonic, and you come to your portraiture. So once your portraiture, pick this tool right here and just click on any part of the skin and just click on OK. And you're going to see what it's going to do to the image. It's not going to add a whole lot of difference, but it's going to make the image look good. So this is our before portraiture and this is our after portraiture. You can see there's no much difference. You will not even see the difference. So this is the before and this is the after. So that's why I said it's not really important, but since I have it, I like using it. So after doing that, after doing our focus separation, you can see how good this image is. So this is where we started from and this is where we are already. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be doing my contouring, dodge and burn. And this is how I do my contouring, dodge and burn. I open up my Retouching Academy again and click on my dodge and burn curves. So right now I'm just going to delete this visual aid because I don't really need it. So for this contouring, dodge and burn, you don't really need this Retouching Academy to do it because all we have right here is dodge and what we have right here is burn. I'm just going to show you how to do it manually. So I'm just going to delete it so I can show you how to do it manually in case you don't have this Retouching Academy. So just come to your adjustment layer, click on your curves and just come to your defaults and bring it to lighter. So once you bring it to lighter, you can just rename it. You can come here and rename it dodge and just come to your adjustment layer again, create another curves adjustment and come to your preset and click on darker RGB and you can just rename it burn if you want. So after that, I'm just going to invert it by clicking on Ctrl I. I'll invert the dodge again by clicking on Ctrl I. So once I do that, I'll just group them, click on Ctrl G to group. So once I group them, I can just add layer mask and just rename it dodge and burn like that. So just open up your group and this is the dodge and this is the burn. So to do my contouring, dodge and burn, after I create my dodge and burn curves, I just come to my normal brush tool, pick my normal brush tool and make sure my flow is on 100 this time, opacity is on 100. Come to my dodge, just increase my brush size a little bit and just paint on where I know I have highlights like this. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'll just paint on where I know I have highlights on the image like this. And I'll do the same thing for here because I can see some highlights here. But to better see where your highlight is, you can just turn off your focus separation so that the image is going to come originally where it was for, so you can see where highlight is and where shadow is. And I don't advise you put artificial highlights or artificial shadow because it's going to make the image look bad after retouching. If there is no highlights that is visible there, don't try to put highlights to your image. So for the burn, I'll do the same thing for the burn. I'm just going to burn this cheek a little bit because I feel it should be dark. And also for here, I'm just going to burn here a little bit like that. And I'm just going to burn here a little bit as well and burn here a little bit. So after making my stroke, I'm just going to come to this feather. So if you cannot find this your feather right here, just click on the mask. So once you click on the mask, come to properties, you are going to see this feather right here. So just feather it a little bit like this and come to the dodge as well, feather it a little bit and turn your focus separation back on like this. So this is the before This is the before and this is the after. If you feel is not okay, all you have to do is duplicate your layer by clicking on Ctrl J, and you're going to see the bond is coming up. So before and after. But if you feel this method is too complicated, I'm just going to show you a simple method. So I'm just going to delete that. So I'm just going to delete everything I just did so I can show you a simpler method if you feel this method is too complicated. So this is a simpler method. Once you create a dodge and bond curves, pick your normal brush tool, just decrease your flow to about 5, and once you decrease your flow to 5, come to your dodge and just paint on anywhere you feel there's highlight on the image, like that. Make sure your foreground color is on white, so just paint on the highlights with your flow on 5, like that. Anywhere you feel there's highlight on the image, so just paint on it until you feel it's okay. Why for the bond, you do the same thing for the bond, just bond where you feel it should be burnt, like that. So this is another method which you can use to do your dodge and bond. So you can see this is the before and this is the after. Before and after. Before and after. If you feel it's too much, you can just reduce the opacity a little bit, like this. So I feel it's okay like this. So this is the before and this is the after. Next I'm going to do after my dodge and bond, I'm going to be whitening the eyes and the teeth. And to do that, I already have action for that. If you want to know how I created my eyes and teeth whitening action, I'll be leaving a link to that video in the description below. So make sure to go check the description of this video to know how to whiten eyes and teeth if you don't know how to do it. So I'm just going to run my action like that, and just with my white brush, I'll just paint, bring back my flow to 100, and just paint on the eyes like this, only the white part of the eyes, like this. And I'll do the same thing for the teeth as well. And if you feel you make a mistake, which I think I just made a mistake, you can use your eraser tool to erase it from the part which you don't want, like that. Okay, so these are before and these are after. Another thing I like to do after doing my eyes and teeth, I just come to my filter. Once the eyes and teeth layer is selected, I'll come to my blur, I'll come to my Gaussian blur, I'll blur with the radius of about 2 and click on OK. And the reason why I'm doing that is to make the eyes look as natural as possible, and I feel it's too white right now. I'm just going to reduce the opacity a little bit because I want my image to look as natural as possible. So I like it like this. So this is the before and this is the after. So the next thing I'm going to be doing for this image, I'm going to be adding contrast to this image, and there are different methods you can add contrast to the image. I'm just going to show you two methods which I use to add contrast to my image. You can use the levels adjustment layer to add contrast to the image. So just come to your levels and just push the blacks in like this a little bit, and push the whites in a little bit like this to add contrast to your image. So you can see this is the before, this is the after, and if you feel it's too much, you can just reduce the opacity. So this is one method of adding contrast to your image, which I use most of the time. Or you can just come to your normal brightness and contrast, click on it, and just click on contrast to increase the contrast of the image. So this is the before, this is the after. But I really don't like this method, but you can use it if you want. So I prefer you use this levels adjustment layer method, or use the curve adjustment layer method. So just come to your curve adjustment layer and just bring this shadows parts down and bring this highlight up a little bit to create an S curve. This is the one which I use most of the time, so I'm going to be using it for this image. So this is the before and this is the after. You can see the contrast that are added to this image right now. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity a little bit because I feel it's still too much. Remember, too much of everything is bad, so just try to work on your opacity. So next I'm going to be doing right now, I'm going to be color grading this image, and this image doesn't really need much color grading because the image is already good as it is. Remember, you don't fix what is not broken. If the image is looking good, don't try to fix it, because if you try to fix what is not broken, you're just going to mess it up. So if you feel the image is looking okay, don't try to do anything to it. because you don't just have to keep retouching your image to make it look better. This image right there on its own is looking good, and even if I don't know, even if I did not color grade this image is looking good on its own. But the only thing I'm going to be doing for this image, I'm going to be adding some colors to the highlights or colors to the shadows as well. So for this image, I'll just come to my adjustment layer again, come to my color balance, and come to my shadows, and add a little bit of blues to the shadows, because I like adding blues to the shadows of my image. So I just come to this blue slider right here and just move it towards the blue side a little bit. Like this is too much, so just move it a little bit. I think +3 is okay. And also I'll do the same thing for the cyan. I just move the cyan sliders to think -2 is okay for the cyans. And I'll come to my highlights. I'll just add a little bit of yellows to my highlights because I feel the magenta is too much right now. I'll just add a little bit of yellows to my highlights. So I just move my yellow sliders towards the yellow side like this, a little bit like this. Okay, so these are before and these are after, just a subtle difference. So next thing I'm going to do, I'll come to my selective color and I'm going to be working with just the yellows because I like the reds like this. So I'm going to be working on just the yellows of this image. So I'll come to the yellows. I'll just add a little bit of I think magentas to the yellows. Let's see. So just play with your sliders and see which one works for you. So if I take to this side, you can see what's happening to the image. So it depends on the kind of color grade you want. There's no perfect way to color grade, but for me, I think I'm just going to add a little bit of I think magentas to the yellows like this, and add a little bit of remove cyans from the yellows to make it add a little of red. So if I take to this side, I'm adding reds to the yellows. So I'll just add a little bit of reds to the yellows with my cyan sliders right here like this. Okay, and let's see our before and after. These are before and these are after. And I think I'm just going to take a little bit of blacks away from the yellows like this. Okay, so before and after. So let me just group my color grading so you can see the before color grading and after color grading. So this is the only color grading I did for this image that you see online. This is the before and this is the after. If you feel it's too much, you can still reduce the opacity before and after. So next I'm going to do for this image, I'm going to add a little bit of brightness to this image. So I'll come to my adjustment layer again, come to my curves and come to my presets, click on this default and click on lighter RGB. So once I click on my lighter RGB, I'll just double click on this empty space right here to open my blend if option. So once I open my layer style, I'll come to this my underlying layer under my blend if, and I'll just split this shadow side to this highlight. So hold alternate, click on it, it's going to split. So once it's split, just drag one part of it to this highlight side like this. Okay, so this is the before and this is the after. So you can decide to reduce the opacity if you feel it's too much. So before and after. So I really like this image like this. I like the way this image is right now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing for this image, I'm just going to do some final and finishing touch for this image. So I'm just going to sharpen the eyes and the lips. So I'll come to my Retouching Academy and click on sharpen. So once I click on sharpen, you can see it's affecting the whole image. So I'm just going to invert that sharpen. So by clicking on Ctrl I to invert. So once I invert this layer mask, I'm just going to use my white brush to paint on the place which I want this sharpen to affect. So I want it to affect these are eyes right here. This is the hair on our eyes right here. And I want it to affect this other one right here. I want it to affect this place right here. But I don't want to paint inside the eyes, but it will not make the image look good. So I'm just going to paint around the eyes like that. And I'll do the same thing for the lips like this. So you can see how good this image is right now. So this is the before, this is the after. And I'm just going to run my sharpen again. And this time I want to sharpen the whole image, but I'm just going to do it a little bit, because if I turn off the sharpen, you can see this image is already sharp, and if I turn it on, you can see it's not making the image look good at all. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity to 5. Okay, 7 is okay. So this is the before and this is the after. You can see you cannot even tell if I sharpen this image or not. This is the before, this is the after. So the next thing I'm going to do, looking at this image, I feel the sharpness I did on the eyes are too much, so I'll come to my sharpen layer and reduce the opacity. So your goal is to make sure you retouch this image to look natural as possible. So I feel it's okay like this. So next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to add noise to this image. So I'll come to my actions and click on my noise. So once I click on my noise, I'm adding digital noise to the image. So you cannot really see the difference. Let me zoom in if you can see. So this is the before and this is the after. Just a subtle difference to give the image kind of how do I put it, seamless look. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity because I feel it's too much. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity a little bit. I feel 18% is okay. I'm going to show you how I save my image, and when I upload them on Facebook and Instagram, they still look sharp. So this is how I save my image. So after doing everything you want to do, I am sure you want to save your image, all you have to do is, first of all, I resize my image. So to resize the image, all you have to do is click on Ctrl Alternate I, and you're going to see image size, or you come to your image and you click on image size. For my image size, for my width, I usually change my width to 9 or 8. So for this image I use 9, and if I change my width, my height will automatically change. So once I change my width to 9, you can see my height change to 11. So just click on OK, and like I said, you can use 8 or 9. So I've been using 8 or 9 for all my images, and it has been working for me. So after resizing my image, I'm going to click on Ctrl Shift Alternate S to save, and it's going to show save for web. So that's the shortcut. But if you want the long cut, all you have to do is, let me just cancel. Just come to your file, you come to your exports, and you see save for web. So just click on it, and it's going to direct you to this page back. So once you are here, make sure your save is set to JPEG, and your quality should be on 75 or 80. So mine is always on 75, and make sure your convert to sRGB is checked. So these are my settings right here, and they have been working for me. So if you have your settings and you want me to know, leave it in the comment section so I can see your settings. But these are my settings right here, so you can pause this video right here and see my settings. And once you are done, just click on save, and your image is going to save. So you can upload it on Facebook or Instagram, and you're going to get that sharp image. So that's all for today's video. And so if you enjoyed this video or you learned anything from this video, make sure to give this video a like so that more people can see this video and learn from this video as well. And also don't forget to check the description of this video so that you can see how to get the right focus separation blur radius, and also how to get that eyes at it whitening action. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay creative.